Left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed. There you go. Go, 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 go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final. You're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold. Take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final. Runway 9 clear to land.
Okay, all right, let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see, what we got, a tricycle, put it down, tricycle, put it down, tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here, you cleared land on 9, all the way to the white dot, go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, and let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. You do not descend. Do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. You can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the down ones. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. Clear to land on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow out follow on the final. And as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the down one? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever's here on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around. Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that. After 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. Put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, three, two, one.
Hello.
Hello! Hey, hello everybody. I have to say it is absolutely bloody great to be back. I've
Look who it is.
It's me. I'm here. Yeah, absolutely. So right. God, it's strange. I'm not quite sure what to do now. How can I mess that? I do apologise.
No change there, then.
Yesterday. I have to say, I thought the Ian cam was great on Flight Radar 24. So well done, whoever came up with that. Although I clearly wasn't flying a PA-28. And apologies for the sort of bad 4G signal, which is kind of all I could really get up at 8,500 feet. Just before we move on, I'll just quickly show you the route on Flight Radar 24. Which that was 2 flights yesterday rather than 1. But I was pretty impressed with that whole straight line straight across France. They were mighty accommodating, those French controllers. Just take off.
Let me guess.
This way.
When you got to the UK, did you then have to?
To be fair, the UK was probably the hardest bit of air traffic, or the most complex bit of air traffic since leaving Venice. But the Southampton Solent controller was super accommodating and good. And that sort of little bit at the end was more to do with Salisbury Plain than it was with Solent. So it was. I mean, I can imagine if you were an Italian or a French pilot and you haven't flown much in the UK, you'd be sort of blasting your way across the whole of Italy, the whole of France, going, "This is easy, isn't it? What's nothing to this international flying bit?" And then you look at the UK chart and you go, "What is going on down there?" Although it has to be said as well that you get a similar feeling when you look at the French chart, because that's like littered with danger areas and ZRTs and all sorts of stuff, which in practice aren't quite the impediment you would think. So there you go. And while we're on this subject, Ricardo, I'd just like to thank, for those who don't know, I've been away on the Raduno. Raduno's Italian for gathering. They have like car Radunos. They have flying Radunos, boat Radunos, and being in Italy, they probably have other kind of Radunos that I guess what Berlusconi would have called them bonga Radunos or something, I assume. I don't know. But anyway, so I just wanted to say thank you to Ricardo and Kate who organised the whole thing. And there you go. There's a picture of Ricardo and Kate on their way flying back from Venice to Bagnoli. And here they are in Bagnoli using the tailplane of the Cessna 172 to provide shade during the historic aviation meet. So yeah, if you got a chance, go to Bagnoli's historic aviation meetup next year. It's great. You can get a cheap flight into Venice, or you can fly yourself. Clearly, there you go. Good. So yes, thank you for that. Hello, Kate. Kate doesn't speak much English, and when I was talking, she was kind of looking. She go in Italian. She kind of said, I normally only hear you when I'm eating my tea on Thursday." So, bon appetit, Kate, as it were. But there you go. Right. Enough of all that. It's time to say thank you very much to our sponsors, SkyDemon, without whom I couldn't really have got to Venice. I have to say, the thought of trying to do that on like 1,000 folded charts and CRP 5s is just ridiculous. So anyway, here you go. I say here you go. Here you go. Here's this week's tip from our sponsor, SkyDemon. Thank you very much, SkyDemon. And this is another good one.
Hi, I'm Rob from SkyDemon, and here's another top tip. Our aerial photography feature makes it easy to see what an unfamiliar airfield will look like from above. But if you've got Google Earth installed on your device, SkyDemon also offers a 3D view that allows for more detailed exploration. Tap the 3D button here, next to the one for aerial photography. Google Earth will then open and take you to the view down the approach. Here we can pan and rotate the view in full 3D to get a feel for the airfield layout and surrounding terrain. Having an idea in advance of how a particular approach should look can add an extra layer of reassurance for that crucial end stage of the flight. For more information, check out our website or our user manual from within the app.
It's like coming soon, synthetic vision approach from SkyDemon.
Wouldn't that be good?
When avgas gets to 15 quid a litre, you won't need to do that. You could all just go there on SkyDemon.
Let's have an iPad fly out.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they do that kind of networked formation flying on the Microsoft Flight Sim now.
That's
Maybe
it.
we should do that. For those of you that have tuned in to see Greg Hughes, I'm happy to say that I can see Greg in the green room now. Hi, Greg. How you doing? We'll get to you as soon as we can. We could do with an expert.
He says we could do with an expert tonight on van. Greg is that expert.
If only we could think of someone called Greg. That would be great. Anyway, let's move on. Let's have some weather. And also a quick thank you to Simon, who was giving me a little bit of weather advice on Tuesday when I decided not to come back and I delayed it for a day. So, Simon, how you doing?
I'm all right, thanks, Ian. Always a relief to see you in the flesh when I've given you a weather forecast. It's nice to know it worked.
I wonder what you were going to say then, Simon.
Yeah, let's not go down that route.
No, right. I've kind of forgotten how do I do this? Let's see if I can make like that, and then there you go.
Yes.
We want big forecast and small Simon, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Come on, Ian. You can't
hang on a second.
Quickly.
Hang on a second.
Come on,
let's try and. Where's the forecast gone then? How does that work?
There's me. Oh, all charts still.
Oh no.
Gone.
Oh.
Hey, that'll do.
Just go with that.
Interested now, though. Okay, so here we go. This is how things look this weekend. I've got slightly different charts for you this weekend because the frontal charts really don't tell the story. So what we're looking at here is charts of cloud and it's simulated radar. So this is forecast radar. And I've also got the pressure going through there as well. But don't take too much notice of that. Not much need to worry about pressure today. It's the clouds and it's the radar that we're interested in. So where we get most cloud is where we've got the white colours. Where the cloud is well broken is where we've got the dark grey colours. So that's what we're interested in. So this is the forecast for tomorrow, for Friday. And just note the time up here at the top of the screen. So I'm just going to play you through a sequence of these charts, and you can see that during the course of tomorrow we get some pretty hefty showers developing across northern England, one or two across the Midlands as well, but they tend to clear eastwards during the course of the afternoon. And then as we get into the latter part of tomorrow, we get some more persistent rain coming through Ireland into western Scotland, western Wales and southwest England. Eastern areas, though, you see there that once those showers are cleared away, actually become really quite pleasant. Some decent evening sunshine to be found across eastern parts of the country tomorrow. And cloud bases, well, these green colours mean that we've got bases between 2,000 and 4,000 feet. The white means that bases are above 4,000 feet. So actually, you can see there that it's not a bad flying day for Friday. Just got to watch those showers through the course of Friday afternoon. Now that's Saturday. So on Saturday, what we have is this band of showers that's moving its way eastwards during the course of Saturday. So by midday Saturday, lying to the east of the Midlands down through southern parts of England. Notice as that moves east, it gets weaker. But I think running along that line, base is probably around 2,000 to 3,000 feet. There will be some rain. It will reduce visibility. Not that much, I don't think. East Anglia, southeastern parts of England look like they do stay pretty fair through Saturday afternoon, but heavy showers to come across Scotland, a rash of showers too across Ireland. These showers in Scotland could turn quite heavy and thundery, but look at the gap in between those two rain areas, where through northern England, through Wales, the western Midlands, southwest England, actually it's pretty flyable within that zone. And then those showers continue to move eastwards as we go through Saturday evening, eventually clearing off towards the east. But most areas, again, are going to be flyable, decent broken cloud. And as I say, those bases are around about 2,000 to 3,000 feet in the rain in central and eastern areas, probably to 4,000 feet elsewhere. So again, it's not a bad day overall. And then for Sunday, again, it's a day really of sunshine and just scattered showers. Don't be too put off by the showers that you see down here across the south. These light blue colours really are very, very light and pretty well isolated showers. Heavier showers coming in through Scotland potentially, but actually it's not a bad day for Sunday either. It looks like being a pretty decent day for most of us. It is just these showers in Scotland which are a bit of a nuisance. Cloud bases typically around about 3,000 to 4,000 feet, a little bit lower in the clouds, but actually, like I say, it is a good flying day. Got my next aviation weather school on the consecutive Saturdays of the 3rd and the 10th of September. So this is an online course. It's filling up as we speak. And if you want to find out more, go to weatherschool.co.uk and you can book your place there now. It'd be super to see you on the 3rd and the 10th of September. Have a fantastic weekend. Whatever you're doing, looks pretty good for flying, but watch those beefy showers on Saturday. See you next week. Bye.
Thank you, Simon.
Cheers, Simon.
Look at that. Getting slicker. The old as someone said, slick as a magneto, not or something like that. Right, let's move on to some news. Dave, you're up first.
Yes, well, we have a new magazine out. You may be aware that every 4 weeks we produce a magazine based on the content we've uploaded to the website over the previous 4 weeks. So the new one, the summer 2022 issue, is out now. It's available on the website. The cover story is a flight test of the Diamond DA50 RG retractable gear. This is the test was done by Ian, and we've got a video to go along with it as well, which you can't see in the magazine, but you can click, you get what I mean. Anyway, we also have a report from Spanfield, the microlight rally, from Flexwing pilot Jeff Hall, who flew in. The Flying Adventure, last week we had Sarah Nadia on, who wrote it. Jess and Sarah's Excellent African Adventure. I get paid for I get paid for this. This is Andy Goodall, who made a business out of flying warbirds, mainly so he could pay for it. Quite good if you can do it. First solo is a young lady called Bethan Haley, who's currently an air instructor, hoping to join the airlines. She takes a big deal out of teaching children taking children up in the aircraft. In Top Gear, Johnny does a test of the Flytex sunshade. Johnny, perhaps you'd like to tell us quickly what a Flytex sunshade is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for a start, I've been faffing around with sunshades for the RV for ages, from like slap-on things that work off static, give them a quick rub, like just from Amazon. For a long time, that's tickled Ian. For a long time,
quickly rub my sunshade. Yeah, but it's cloudy outside, Johnny.
Yeah, for a long time I still am using like a £7 kids car window sunshade from Tesco, which is good, but it only covers about that much of the canopy. So this is actually a real purpose-built thing from Flytex in Germany, and Cambrai covers the UK agent. And yeah, it's big. It's got a proper, rail that you can position it nicely. It's really good quality fabric, and it's really easy to install. So go on and read it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well done. Good. So you can download that if you haven't read the stuff over the past 4 weeks. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, you do have to register to download. I mean, if you're a Flyer Club member and logged in, no problem. But if you are not a Flyer Club member and you're not logged in, you do have to register.
Yeah, it's part of our building up that little paywall, which we'll come to a little bit later. Ed.
Absolutely. Yes. New news. There's a new LAA chief inspector on the way. Obviously, the LAA announced that after 31 years, Ken Craigie, their current chief inspector, was retiring. And at the end of last week, they announced that Lucy Wotton will be their new chief inspector. She'll be coming along in September time. There'll be a handover period. And she'll join the engineering team with a wide experience of engineering and recreational flying. She has an honours degree in aeronautical engineering from Loughborough University. She worked for Rolls-Royce and as an aircraft structural repair design engineer. She's also currently a BGA gliding inspector, BGA board member, PPL holder, and a key figure at Edge Hill Gliding Centre. LAA Engineering Director John Ratcliffe said, "We're very much looking forward to welcoming Lucy to the LAA team, heading our establishment of over 350 inspectors." It's great. There's lots of potential there for Lucy to take that role forward. And Ken's obviously been in that post a long time. He's really well known, but great, some fresh blood. Fantastic. That's tremendous.
Excellent. Very good. Look forward to that. Little story coming up from me next. I think this happened yesterday or the day before, but a group went and presented a report. They've done a lot of work on EGNOS. You'll know in the UK we lost access to EGNOS, thanks to the word that we will not mention. And group went and presented to the APPG, All Party Parliamentary Group for General Aviation, on what a kind of mistake it is, basically, and the fact that while Inmarsat and a few other people are not cobbling together, I shouldn't have said that, are working really hard on producing our very own, we've reinvented the EGNOS wheel and it will be with us, I'm sure, and it will probably be well beating, and it'll be amazing, but it won't be with us just yet, and it will cost a few quid along the way. So let's give it 5 or 10 years. And they've kind of gone to, look, why don't we just get EGNOS back in the meantime? And the report has demonstrated that for every £1 the UK government spends on EGNOS, it brings back a benefit of £2.60. So a ratio of 2.6 to 1. And there's a lot of people who are listening, and basically Kwasi Kwarteng and Grant Shapps have been asked to reconsider their decision to just pull out of it and run away. So I didn't mean run away. I didn't mean that at all. And not do it. Look, basically, I don't suppose Grant and Kwasi are actually watching this, but if they were watching this, just put your politics to one side, be pragmatic. It makes good business sense. Just do it. That's what we employ you for. Thank you. Right.
That is assuming they'll have us back.
I think they've said they would, wouldn't they? They said you just have to pay like anybody else.
Well, there is a big EU dispute warming up at the moment. So
there is one. That's true. Yeah, I suppose we could get political. We could stab ourselves in the. Well, anyway, have we got any more feet left that we can shoot off or not? Or have they all gone?
I guess it means we could. There's potential for loads of satellites waving the British flag. You know, take a leaf out of the government book, and we can have some flags on satellites.
What a great idea! They'll be world leading. Yeah. Anyway, look, whatever don't you just hate it when that bloody politics gets in the way of just sensible stuff? It's not political. Just do it. It's just God, I don't know. Did anyone read it? Anyone? No, I'm not even going to go there because people will complain and leave, and we got other things to do. Johnny, tell us about the axe.
Yeah, this is great. So this is a British-designed 2-seat eVTOL that's been unveiled by a company called Skyfly, and it's known as not just the Axe, but it is the Axe by Skyfly. So it's capable of vertical flight, but it doesn't have rotating engines. Rotating in the sense of the whole hub doesn't move. Obviously, the blades do. Instead, the motors are at a fixed angle, which they're Skyfly are correctly saying it saves weight and saves complexity, and they're saying it improves strength and safety. And you'll notice there's a pair of wings which give longer range than competitors, and it also allows for glide landings, which obviously is a big safety feature versus lots of these things that just fly around under power and lift created from blades. And they've got quadruple redundant control systems apparently, which stabilizes the aircraft in the hover. And each of those hubs has got 2 motors, so there's redundancy there as well. And they've also got mechanical controls for glide landing. So yeah, what do we think? There's been lots of interesting comment online about the name, the look.
But the concept is good, and it's got. I know that Dr. Bill Brooks is one of the brains behind this program, and it's simplifying the eVTOL thing. And some of this has got to stick, surely, and surely something that is simple and tries to solve that problem by doing it in with the least number of moving parts. Has got to be a good thing. They're targeting a price, I think, around about £150,000.
Yeah, you can order one now if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to make 2 or 3 comments here. First one is Dr. Bill Brooks. He is so clever that you couldn't actually fit his brain in that cockpit. That's a fact. Number 1. Fact number 2, well, not fact number 2, my observation number 2, you were talking about a glide landing. I mean, if you lost all the power, how much wing have you got there? Like, that's worse than an SX3, whatever, SX300. You can basically land wherever you can see out the side, aren't you?
Yeah. When they say glide landing, it could be, your cone of landing is almost straight down.
Your cone of landing is not quite as wide as the straw from McDonald's on the milkshake, basically. And my third observation is 150 grand. Yeah, right. How much was the Ego?
that was, I can't, that's so long ago now. That was originally going to be somewhere around about the £50,000 mark, but then it was £75,000, and then it got more expensive, and then they would throw in things like instruments and a transponder as extras to try and keep the price low. So, yeah.
I would rather fly this though than what was that other thing we've had on recently? That just looks like the thing from Star Wars.
Was it a mall?
Well, not the Jetson bike. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
the Jetson flying food chopper. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. Because I'm sure lots of people are waiting to see Greg Hughes, and I can see Greg Hughes is waiting to tell us, and he could actually tell us what he thinks. I mean, that could be.
There might be. Who knows? And there's speculation about the RV15. It might be an eVTOL. I guess we'll find out in a bit.
That could be the RV15 done in disguise, couldn't it? We'll be getting to you shortly, Greg. We've just got a couple of stories we've got to work through, and then we'll be with you, and you can tell us whether that is the secret RV15. So, Ed.
Yes, vintage aerobatic news. There's less than 2 months to go before this year's Vintage World Aerobatic Championships is held at Brighton on the 18th to the 20th of August. The organisers are the Real Aero Club at Brighton, and they're saying it's not just for vintage aircraft. There's 3 categories, and gliders are welcome. Those 3 categories, it's vintage, aircraft with a type certificate or similar from 1955 or older. Classic, so that's 1955 to 75, and a replica category, which is for modified vintage or classic aircraft. Apparently there's 4 UK entries so far, 3 German, 3 Belgian, 1 Danish and 1 Austrian. If you fancy registering to take part, you'll need a vintage aeroplane, vintage aerobatic aeroplane, and I'll pop a link in the comments. But that will be a really great event, and I think if you fancy seeing some vintage aerobatics, that'll be one of the best ways to see that this year. So
They should have a category A for vintage pilots, and they should have another category for airplanes that are painted brown. They're kind of like 70s vintage airplanes, aren't they? Right, Dave, Air League Awards.
Yes, the Air League, which is an association to promote aviation, mostly to young people. Anyway, it has annual awards recognising the good stuff in aviation. Its top award this year, the Founders Medal, went to the Rolls-Royce team who did produce the electric aircraft that took the world speed records. The team includes obviously Electroflight and YASA, who produce the batteries, and so they took the top award. There were some other awards to pilots. Dave Mackay, Chief Pilot of Virgin Galactic, Kachana Gamage of the Aviatrix project, and Travis Ludlow for his round-the-world flight last year. All got little displays, signed things, plaques. What do you call them?
Excellent.
Certificates.
Kachana and Travis have been live stream guests, so maybe we just need to get Dave Mackay on. So
yes, we have had Dave Mackay as, and I get paid for this subject.
Well, Andy wrote a story many
a long
years
time ago. Yeah,
was a long time ago. Yeah.
I like the way that we're promoting stuff to young people. So we've got a room full of people in suits.
Yeah.
There are some young people in that picture.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, there's a couple.
Yeah. On the back row, I can see St. John, the appropriately named St. John Youngman, who was
literally
one of the best battery brains. I think that can be a phrase to describe him.
Is that like battery chickens?
No, much better.
Okay, right, jolly good, Dave.
Oh yes. Just a quick mention of the fact that it's the British Grand Prix this weekend at Silverstone, and there's a restricted airspace AIC come out. It's MOVE AIC 051, and the RAT, the restricted airspace, is from 1st to the 3rd of July, 0600 to 2000 each day, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. It affects the area around Silverstone and her Western airfield because there's a large number of helicopters coming and going throughout the period. Also, on Sunday at 2:15, there'll be a display by the Red Arrows over the track.
2:15?
2:15, just before the race starts.
What time's the race start then?
3 o'clock, I think.
Okay, fair enough. Jolly good. Oh, yeah, my bit next. This I just wanted to tell you about the paywall. Mentioned that earlier. The paywall is coming down on July the 12th. That means after July the 12th, you will have access to some news on the website. You'll have access to most of the forums, although there'll be member-only areas of the forums coming along. And until there you go. Thank you very much. Until then, you can join for the tiny price of £30 a year, and after that it'll be £52 a year, which, when you think about it, £1 a week to consume everything that we do is a bargain. So you could wait and just pay the £52. That would be fantastic. But get in now and join quickly. Effectively, the world's changing, the world's moving on, and we frankly rely on our members to part fund what we do, or to significantly fund what we do. So if you want more of our content, please join. And you get access to a live stream extra on a Wednesday afternoon. So what could be better? Johnny.
Yeah, so we've got Pilot Careers Live coming next weekend on the 9th, Saturday 9th, at the Concord Conference Centre at Manchester Airport, which is got many names. It's the Runway Air Park as well. Basically, where you go to watch the aeroplanes is a hangar with Concord sat inside, and Pilot Careers Live will be happening there. So we'll pop a link in the comments. You can get tickets, pilotcareerslive.com. And yeah, they're available for students and adult prices. So yeah, come along. If you know anybody that is interested in a career becoming a professional pilot, let them know about it, and be good to see them there. We've got lots of great ATOs. We've got airlines, EasyJet, Wizz Air, and they'll be doing talks. So it should be a good day.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
One last question. Where's Mac?
Oh yeah, Dubai still. I had an email from Sam earlier. He's about to move, apparently.
Right. So he spent a lot of time in Greece. He spent a lot of time in Mauritius, and now he's spending quite a bit of time in Dubai. He's just going on around the world skiving trip, isn't he?
He's topping up his tab.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yep.
Right. I think the moment that everyone's been waiting for, we're going to bring Greg into the studio in a semi-slick manner. Hello, Greg. I'm just going to put you up there, and then I'm going to make you. There you go.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Oh, very well, Greg. Right, Ian, you're in charge of comments. We've had some weird comments appear in the.
I'm in charge of comments.
I've just killed one as well. It's
well done, Ed.
This
Right.
is obviously targeted as a popular live stream because Greg's here.
Yeah. So, Greg, you are VP, Vice President, and COO of Vans Aircraft, aren't you? I've got that right?
That's right. You got that right.
Excellent. So just give us a bit of background because a lot of us know, but for people who don't know, when you joined the company, how did you get involved? Where did you work your way up through? And where are you kind of taking things now?
Sure. I joined the company in 2018, so really right at 4 years ago. Prior to that, I had a completely different career, but I had found the world of RVs through EAA and Teen Flight, so a STEM program for building RV-12s with kids. Gotten involved with that and kind of changed my whole life. And the next thing I knew, I'm working at Vans Aircraft, and that's pretty much how I got there.
Well, now it's been a weird couple of years, really, for the whole world, obviously, and the aviation industry, and you guys. So, how has Vans changed since COVID began? And I guess it's impacted lead times and all sorts of things. So, how's the company coped with that?
Yeah, it's really impacted. COVID, economic changes, and all the things that have sort of fed off of each other, or one caused the other. Supply chain issues, and then staffing problems, I guess, whether it's because people are sick and we have to shut down departments at work. That happened a couple times, or difficulty in hiring people just because of the way the world was working. Getting materials, getting parts that we buy, materials that we buy. We don't manufacture everything in-house. The things that we manufacture in-house are going pretty smoothly. Some of the bought items, that we purchase, a little challenging, and certainly from a material supply chain perspective, there's challenges that we still face. But When COVID hit, we really didn't know what to expect. It was a real big unknown. So we had to sort of plan for different options. What we discovered was that there were a lot of people who were spending time at home who had either been thinking about building an airplane or discovered the idea of building an airplane. I know I talked to several people who said they're at home with their kids and their kids are playing with toy airplanes like they used to, and their kids look in the sky just like they did when they were little kids. Every time you hear airplane noise overhead, and it's just brought on the desire, and there was an opportunity. So through a variety of different causes, one of which is COVID and probably some others, the order rate for kits, was started to ratchet up and kept ratcheting up. And things were going pretty well. We had a good supply chain, and but then we had a couple of issues that came up. One of which was supply chain started to slow down and the ability to get materials. But the other one was that we had an unfortunate problem where we had our quick build kits, which are at the time were all being done in the Philippines. The contractor that does that work for us there got a bad batch of primer, and we didn't realize that because we didn't start to see the evidence of that until after we had received those quick build kits back, and after they'd already been, after a while after they'd been primed. Then we started to see evidence of that problem. So we ended up having kits that we needed to either the builder would either have to remediate or we would have to replace new ones. And so that put us behind the 8 ball just in terms of fulfillment. That combined with COVID, combined with staffing issues, combined with economy and things going on, made quite a challenge. So we made some changes starting late last year. Ryan Johnson, our president, and our team put together some changes to start building kits in much larger batches. So for a given sub kit, like say an RV-10 wing kit, an RV-8 fuselage kit, those are what we call sub kits. The idea was that we would build them in significantly larger batches and at a time. So we've made that change, and we've been now making the kits that we make in big manufactured batches and then delivering those. So that's both a more efficient manufacturing option as well as a more efficient way of creating and shipping the kits out, just from a throughput perspective. And so it's made a big difference. The way I explain it is it's really not complicated. We've essentially just changed everything, which is the truth, right? So there's a lot to everything, but fundamentally that's what we've done from a variety of different perspectives. We've had some challenges, and a lot of companies, I think all the companies in our industry have to some extent, and we're doing everything we can to overcome those. Right now, our biggest challenges are finishing kits and predicting availability because of a lot of third-party components and a lot of third-party materials that are required to make some of the parts in there. For example, steel tubing right now is very challenging. And some of the bought parts, we call them, where we purchase parts, certain components from third-party manufacturers. But overall, in fact, just this week, we've started a new process of publishing lead times and forecasting lead times for most of our kits, certainly all of the fuselage, wing, and tail kits, empennage kits. And that's resulted in we now have much shorter lead times and much more predictable lead times in that area. And we're working on the finishing kits and hope to get those published soon.
What do you call shorter lead times?
The shorter lead times are, in some cases, 1 month, 3 months, 4, 6 months, where before they were advertised as 10 to 18 months, depending on which kit it was. So if you like, I can kind of explain how that works. The short version is this. So we have the contract. We tried to find an aviation analogy to explain this, but ended up with a train analogy. So if you think of each, for us to manufacture every sub kit that we make for every model, we think of that as a train. And there are cars on the train, and each car represents a kit, right? And then there are seats on each car on the train, and that's the number of kits that we're making in that batch for that round of build everything. And so we, we've been catching up on kits that are later than we had hoped to be able to deliver or close to the time frame. And because we're making big batches, we're covering all of those back orders, but we're also making extras, which means that people that in some cases, there are train cars that still have seats available on them, which will be delivered in about a month, for example, and that'd be a 1 month lead time from now. Whereas, if we have the RV8 fuselage as an example, so in the August timeframe, we'll be delivering a batch of RV8 fuselage, if I'm remembering correctly. Sorry if I'm not, but hypothetically. And so there's a number of RV8 fuselages that are on order and have been that we're covering a fairly large block of time, but there are still a few available in that train car. So if somebody was to order them now, they'd be available in that same batch. Of course, they'd be delivered at the tail end of that batch from a crating and a shipping perspective, because we do that, in the order they're received. But the net difference is that we're able to more predictably deliver kits with a lead time that is more accurate than we were able to do given the volume. And we're also able to produce a much greater volume, create them in much greater volume, and just increase the overall throughput. To give you an idea of that, historically, we've typically shipped for the last few years somewhere around 28 to 35 kits a week, right? Sub kits per week. We're now regularly doing somewhere between 55 and 65 kits per week is what's going out the door. So that's a combination of the manufacturing changes we've made, as well as the crating, the follow-on crating changes that it takes to get those things crated and shipped.
And great. Besides COVID, Greg, do you think there's just been things like the RV14s obviously had a big following, and people realise it's pretty easy and straightforward to build? Do you think there's been a kind of big swell of enthusiasm for just more building?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just COVID, right? I mean, honestly, we did some intentional marketing, in the same time frame that led into COVID. So there's from an awareness perspective, I think more people are aware of the kit airplane industry and experimental airplanes in general. That's been increased. There's no doubt that the interest in that has been growing over the last several years, and that's part of it. So, but COVID's part of it, but it's not all of it.
No. So obviously this year is you're celebrating 50 years of Van's aircraft. So there must be some good plans for that coming up, especially with Oshkosh around the corner.
We do. We have Oshkosh is really our focus for the big celebration for 50 years of Van's aircraft. Dick Van Grunsven started this company and first showed up with the RV3 at Oshkosh in 1972, and here we are in 2022, and we'll be there, of course, as we always are, and we have a lot planned for the show. Monday, the opening Monday of Oshkosh is going to be a big day in terms of celebrating the 50th anniversary of Vans. We have some pretty cool stuff planned. Boeing Plaza, which is sort of the big plaza at Show Center, where you find Garmin and Boeing and other large companies, and they do aircraft displays there. So Monday will be a display of different Vans aircraft models, customer airplanes that will be displayed there. And then following Monday, those airplanes will be moved to an area across the taxiway or the road from the Vans aircraft booth, where they'll continue to be on display, and that's pretty cool. The Monday Air Show, the opening of the Monday Air Show is going to be about RVs, and we're really excited about that. There are a lot of pilots who have been putting in a lot of practice to do a pretty special something to open the air show. So we're really excited about that. And of course, we have forums throughout the week, and we have the booth. We have our banquet on Tuesday night, which sold out. When we put the tickets out, sold out in about 24 hours. I wish we could have a bigger venue. But it's you kind of got to deal with what you can use at EAA. And another special presentation is Monday evening. Theater in the Woods presentation will be 50 years of Van's aircraft, and Paul Dye from Kit Planes magazine will be the MC for that, and interviewing Van and a few other of us up there on the stage, but I think primarily Van talking about the company and the history and kind of what happened and how it started and how we got to where we are.
And it kind of started from this, really, didn't it?
Yeah, that's the frame up change for the Playboy to the RV1, right? Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
that's where it all started. You know, Van had the Playboy and started making modifications to it, streamlining it, changing the canopy the Cal put on. Decided that the wings that were on it could be greatly improved, and built a set of aluminum cantilevered wings, which was that major change to the airplane. You know, recalling and whatnot. And there we are, 1972. So that's up at Whidbey Island, up in the state of Washington, here in the U.S. And the RV1 and the RV3 there, are really where it all started. The RV3 being the first actual kit that was offered by Van in the form of plans, and then plans and parts. Pretty rudimentary by today's standards, certainly. And that grew into the RV4 and the RV6, and became all of a sudden a large number of airplanes being built and flown. I mean, the RV6 is still the most built kit airplane in the world in terms of numbers. And that's actually an RV6 quick build kit that we're seeing there, and so that was a pretty big deal to offer that type of capability in a kit. Instead of just going from plans and cut your own metal to sending some metal parts to actually sending something that was more substantially complete. Of course, that grew into the RV7, and then there's the RV8, which came along. Actually, not exactly in that order. Well, here we go. There we go. So there in the foreground, you can see the RV7. So the RV7 number 1 became RV7A number 1. So it lives now as an RV7A when it was converted as a prototype. You see the RV8A in the background. Of course, the RV8's the tail dragger, and the RV9A and looks like the RV10 in the background back there. So
yep. And then obviously you followed that up with something Rotax powered.
Right. Yeah, the RV12, and that's what you see there is the original. We call the legacy of the original RV12, and what followed that was the RV12 IS, which is the Rotax fuel injected 100 horsepower engine.
That's it. Which brings us to the RV14.
Wonder who took that picture. That's a great shot. I believe was that the first RV14 to fly in the UK?
That was the first customer completed RV14 in the UK, and we've got probably 3 or 4 now flying here. So.
Right. That's a great shot. Yeah, the RV14 and even the RV14 has gone through an evolution since it was introduced. What was it, 8 or 9 years ago? We went in the last couple of years through a process. Our engineering team went to an experimental version of the IO390C engine, which we call the IO390 EXP119, which has a greater horsepower output. We did some tuned exhaust and took the fuel servo off of the 6-cylinder, so the great big huge fuel servo, the pump, put that on that 4-cylinder IO390, and did some cowling changes and some cooling drag changes and a variety of things, and actually took that airplane from about 205 miles an hour to about 218 miles an hour. So it's a pretty significant change, and kind of took it from a strong airplane to sort of a muscle car style thing. It's a lot of fun to fly, and it's a real beast. It's a fire breather for sure.
Wow.
So come on then.
Yeah.
The question that everyone's asking.
Has the percentage of completed kits to flying changed much over the years?
That's the question everybody's asking.
No. No.
I'll answer the question though. So the percentage of completed kits. So yes, I think it has. So if by over the years you mean as the kits have advanced, that the percentage of completed kits has increased, and the speed at which those kits are completed has also changed pretty significantly. The RV14 is there's essentially no fabrication at all involved in building an RV15, whereas like an RV3 or an RV4 is a whole lot of fabrication, right? you have the 7, 8, 9, sort of in between the 10 and the 12, pretty advanced. The 14 being the most advanced from a pre-punched batch 12 final size type of kit. We have a significant number of customers that have built RV-14s in 18 months or a lot less, even under a year. And these are people that are building their first airplane. So whereas, the typical RV-7 project is considerably longer than that, or RV-8. And, I think, the more progress people make on a daily basis or a monthly basis, the more motivated they are, at least on average, to keep moving and get finished. And there are more and more of those airplanes being finished and flown every day.
Yeah, and it was the 11,000th RV flew last year, didn't it?
That's right.
Yeah,
it did. And I don't know what the exact number is now, but we're still in the 11,000 range somewhere.
Yeah, but it's generally you add a new airplane somewhere around the world every kind of 20 hours or so, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on the time of year, but on average, it's something like that. Yeah, something about one a day or a little more is pretty much the average.
Yeah, which is astonishing. So we got to 14. So it's where'd you go after that?
Been nice talking to you guys.
We joked that we would give you a buzzer and we would ask questions like, does it have a radial engine? And you could go, is it electric? What can you tell us, Greg?
Well, we'll be able to say more soon, I believe. What I can tell you is that we have an incredible team of super dedicated engineers and personnel that have been working on this RV-15 project, which is the next airplane, for quite a while. And of late have been putting in a ridiculous number of hours. And they and their families have really been sacrificing. We're really excited. And when it's ready to share, I know I've been saying this for a while, but when it's ready to share, that's what we'll do. We'll share it.
Yeah.
Between now and then, what we've publicly announced is that it's a high wing backcountry all metal airplane with a control stick. It'll have a tail wheel first, tricycle sometime in the future. It's a backcountry RV. We want to embody the total performance concept that we have for all of our airplanes. Maximize the top end speed, low end speed and handling need to be excellent, handling overall. But the mission is a little more utility, backcountry.
Yeah.
Capable and come to Oshkosh.
Will it be aerobatic? I'm guessing not.
Here's the problem. I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you. But there's a lot of people on this. So I think the real thing is if I told you, I'd lose my job. So yeah. I'm probably not going to do that because I like my job.
That's it.
But we will be sharing more information about the RV-15 at Oshkosh. So if anybody's looked at the schedule for the forums at Oshkosh, one of the forums is an engineering panel with some of our engineers that have been working on the airplane, talking about building the next model RV. So yeah. I'll share that with you.
Yeah. And I guess if people are wise, they would understand that probably in the last 10 years, you guys have been masters of taking things that you already make and using those things to create other things. So I think we can expect to see some DNA there, can't we?
I think you can expect to see some DNA, but this is a clean sheet airplane.
Okay.
So, in the past, I think it's that's a really valid point though, Ed. So, the history, the lineage of RV airplanes, the aircraft, it's been in sort of an organic evolutionary approach, right? Start with a single seat, low wing airplane, great performance, great handling, basically set the stage for everything RV.
Yeah.
So to that extent, yeah, sure, there's some DNA and there's certainly principle in there. RV4, well, people wanted 2 seats. RV6, people wanted 2 seats side by side. but sort of expanding and building upon 7 and 8. Same wing, right? Literally the same parts. And the RV10 was with the 4 seats and a new airfoil. It's a bit of a departure, but still fundamentally leveraging a lot of what Van and the crew at Vans over time had done. The RV12 was, a bit of a departure, going light sport, doing a Rotax engine. 14, I think the 14 is the RV10 airfoil and an RV7 style fuselage design, kind of put together. I always say if an RV10 and an RV14 had a baby, it would grow up. I'm sorry, RV10 and an RV7 had a baby, it would grow up to be an RV14, right? That's something like that. The RV15 is a net new airplane. I would hazard to say, I don't know there are almost no parts in the RV15 that appear in another airplane, I guess.
Wow.
Okay. So
I think that will surprise. That will surprise a lot of people, because I think we've all been guessing that it's like, I've had my own guess out there that it might be kind of RV10 14 wing, and you put so much effort into making things like the RV14 firewall forwards. That's such a great package. It would be sensible to go, hey, if we were going to use that engine, we'd use that kind of thing. So I think that's probably your biggest giveaway so far, that it's on the whole new airframe.
Yeah. So, like I said, almost. I'll let you try to figure out what that means. But
yes. Yeah. So it's not an eVTOL then.
It's a high wing all country, backcountry all metal airplane. That's what I can tell you. But it's which to me doesn't sound a whole lot like eVTOL. But that's for you to decipher. Maybe we'll get to talk closer to Oshkosh or during Oshkosh about what's going on.
As Mikey swings across the sky, I think we can safely say RV15, it will be a kit.
Yes, it will be a kit, and it will have seats.
Yes.
How's that?
So tell us about the RV16 then.
No. there is an RV16 planned. But that's a ways off. I don't know. I think you all do, but I don't know if people in general know what it takes to build a new airplane, and the amount of work and the time that it takes to go from concept through design to prototyping, which is where we're at now. So might be a good thing to explain. The current stage of our project for the RV15 is prototype stage, right? So we're building the prototype airplane, not the kit airplane. And that's the process that we go through. So we go through and we design, determine what the prototype will be, build the prototype. And the prototype is flyable, the prototype flies. And then there's a whole bunch of things that you discover in a new airplane. And then that starts to drive the process of refinement and refine. And that process takes a long time also. There's a lot of work that has to go into it. If you change one thing, it will almost always have a significant effect on the next thing. And then there's a whole chain of events that can happen. And so striking that balance where, everything in the design comes together and happens to work out really well, is certainly a goal. But in the end, what our team is going to do is they're going to work until it's right. And then when it's right is when it's time, as opposed to defining when it's time, right? So the important thing is to build a really great performing, safe airplane that people will love. I'm excited about building one, right? I'm really excited to do it, and I haven't even finished this one yet, right?
So what for those that don't know, what are you building in the background there, Greg?
That's an 8A. An RV8A that I've been building for, like 9 years. So, ironically, I joined Vans back in 2018, and I've made almost no progress on it since then. I don't know why. I've been spending all my time on other people's kits, and mine has been very sorely neglected. So, I'm hoping that after Oshkosh this year and after some of these projects that we've been doing, once things start to smooth out, that I'll be able to be home in the evenings and maybe spend a little bit of time working on this thing. So got a couple airplanes in here, some other stuff behind here that requires some attention as well. So,
well, you're a bit of a collector, aren't you? Because I think you've got a Pix as well. I
do. Do you want to do a hangar tour?
No, don't have to do that. But I know you've got a few there, haven't you? So
there's a Pitts back here, and I also own the original Team Flight airplane, Team Flight number 1,
which was an RV-12, wasn't it?
There's an RV-12, right? Yellow nosed RV-12. So
I have a question.
Those are both back there.
I have an RV-15 question that you may or may not want to answer.
Yeah.
But if I decided that I wanted to build an RV-15, when would I have to have my workshop ready?
You're right. I don't want to answer that one. It's okay. You can keep trying though. But
okay.
But one thing I think that is important for people to realize is that we're currently working on a prototype airplane.
Yeah.
And the time that it takes to get from prototype airplane to kit is significant. And until you've essentially finished prototype, you don't really know exactly when kits are going to be available. And that's just the reality of it, right? So I know that people will want us to be able to say, when are kits going to be ready? And as soon as we know when kits can be ready, realistically, we'll do that. What we don't want to do is set expectations that we are a guess and then try to drive to a timeline because we don't want people to be disappointed because we told them something ahead of time. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, that's born out of experience. You know, it's especially in the current environment where, you know, supply chain, you know, I mean, we've had times when we haven't been able to get aluminum sheet and we've run really low on the core materials we use right now. Like I said, steel tube and a variety of other materials are pretty tough. And so when we know about kits and kit time frame, trust me, the world will be the first to know, right? It'll be in our interest and your interest to let you know about that. But that we're not at kit timeline yet. We're working on getting there. We're just not there yet.
And given that the 14 is said by many to be the simplest vans to assemble rather than fabricate,
right?
I'm assuming that going forwards to 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, you're not planning to make things harder to build.
Not harder to build, no. We may, you know, in the RV-14, the one component, you want to guess what was the one component of the RV-14 kit that took the longest for us to create?
Was it
cow?
Yeah.
I was going to guess.
Guess. It's the plan. The plans. The construction plans took more than 2 times as much time to complete, to author, and finish as the prototype airplane did. It's a significant amount of work. So we certainly in the future, potentially with the 15 or with something else, we'll be taking a look at what other options do we have in terms of plans delivery. And we don't have answers on that yet, but it's certainly something we've been looking at, thinking about, because it is pretty significant, the effort that it takes to do that and to maintain it, frankly.
Yeah. And you guys have set the standard really for builder-friendly plans, haven't you? So I guess it's something that you're really keen to maintain.
Yeah, in some way, shape, or form, right? But the concept of pre-punched, matched hole, final size, we're not going to go away from that, right? I mean, we're advancing the state of the art in that area, and we'll continue to advance the state of the art in that regard. You know, it's we're not going to go backwards from a construction materials perspective at all, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, we've added significant capabilities in-house and over the last few years. You know, Ryan has been a big proponent of and driven in the factory some vertical integration to meet specific needs, both in terms of predictability for our schedules and just in-house capabilities that have changed the way that we think about designing airplanes. Because when you have, you know, 2 Haas mills and a Haas lathe, you know, CNC lathe and a coping tool center, you know, on the floor, that are available to use in-house. You know, when you start to think about prototyping things, the concept of prototyping is really different if you do your own CNC work and you can literally do it overnight and have a prototype part the next day. You know, we have a new 550-ton, really big hydraulic press that used to be at a Ford plant that's running, and you know, we can produce thousands of ribs a day that we've punched that we can bend in-house instead of having to send them outside. This is what we used to do. There's still some things that we need to send outside, right? We're not going to become an anodizing facility, you know, the chemicals and all that stuff. We're just not going to do that. So we've expanded our partnerships, especially through the volume changes that we've gone through and whatnot, and powder coating and a variety of other things that are better done by a third party. And in some cases, there's parts that are made both in-house at vans and outside of vans, the same parts. And that's some of the changes we made over the last 9 to 12 months, where we need to be able to have to expand the number of parts that we're making in order to deliver a larger volume of kits. And we have our in-house capability, and we have a ratchet up and ratchet down capability from using a third party or more than one third party to be able to make some of the aluminum parts, for example. And that's proven to be really beneficial and has significantly improved our ability to deliver the larger batches of kits that I talked about earlier.
Yeah, fantastic. Just to round up, is Vans going to a high wing a direct result of Doug Reeves, the one-man campaign on the Vans Air Force homepage?
Well, so Doug's a good friend of mine. So the real answer is no. That's it. No, I'm the marketing guy, so I can tell you that Doug's the design for the RV-15, the concept for the RV-15 came about even before Doug started pushing for it. But the fact that he's pushing for it and the information that he collected certainly validated a lot of things. A couple years ago, I did a couple of big cross-country trips and went to Petit Jean, talked to folks there, the big RV fly-in that happens in Arkansas every year, and a variety of other places with hundreds of RV people, and had conversations with them about what would they like to see in the next airplane. That informed a lot of the decisions that we made. But fundamentally, it's our engineering team. Primarily, it's our engineering team, the management team, getting together and talking about what is it that the experimental marketplace doesn't cover very well, for a buildable airplane that would be, we're not going to do something that isn't going to be financially viable for the company, right? That doesn't do anybody any good. Yeah. Those are the targets of one-off airplane builds. We're not going to build a company, like Mike Patey's Scrappy airplane, which is a super cool, really neat airplane, right? But it's a one-off airplane, right? And it's something that is a lot of fun that one person can dream up and do. What we do is we build airplane kits to fulfill the dreams of enough people to be able to pay the bills. What we do, but we don't just do any kit. It still needs to meet the basic Vans aircraft requirements of total performance. It needs to meet a mission, do it well, have a wide envelope, a very high margin for safety, and be, part of what we do is we try to keep it as affordable as we can. Certainly the costs of everything have been going higher, engines and everything. The kits are a little more pricey. We're doing everything we can to keep the cost down to make it as possible as we can for the average person to be able to, save up their pennies, put their nose to the grindstone and build an airplane.
Yeah, and Vans have always been, the Vans kits have always been some of the most affordable out there, haven't they, really? So.
Yeah, we try. I mean, certainly there are less expensive kit airplanes that you can build. Yeah. But, they're not really in the same performance class. So we're trying to strike the balance. It's often said, and I would agree that, RVs, any given RV model is probably not the best at any one thing out there, right? But we really strive to make them the best overall airplane across the board in terms of the capabilities and the various missions that people would do, and to make them really, really good in any given purpose or category. You can take an RV4 or an RV3 or an RV10 or what have you and go fly into backcountry strips, right? We do it all the time. It's not a purpose-built bush airplane or backcountry airplane, which is what we're working on right now. And there are some things in the RB-15 that are fundamentally different than what we've done before. And I think that those things are pretty darn cool, and that people will find them to be pretty cool. And we're excited. I'm excited about when I can actually talk about it, and more importantly, when the folks are doing all the really hard work, we'll be able to talk about it and show it to everybody.
Fantastic. Well, Greg, we're running out of time anyway, but I think we can all say it's interesting to hear you kind of fill us in on what's going on at the company and the plans for Oshkosh, and we await seeing the RV-15 when it's done. So.
Well, we're excited to show it to you when it's ready.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much. We look forward to
Thank you, Greg.
It was good talking to you guys.
We will see you at Oshkosh.
Sounds great. See you there.
Thank you. Cheers.
Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
When did Dave go?
I don't know.
Dave announced that he had somewhere to go, so he's gone. So it's going to be it's fancy hangar with just the three of us.
Okay, let's run a very quick fancy hangar. In fact, let's skip the trailer because we're already late. Just make up your own hallelujah thing, and let's go straight into fancy hangar. I'm going to go last.
Ending great. So fancy hangar. This week we mentioned it's not long till the Vintage Aerobatic Championships at Brighton. So we figured, hey, let's look in the classifieds and find something that we can buy and take along. So who's first?
Not me, but let's make Dave go first as he's not here. So Dave would have chosen this.
A Waco UPF, which is that's a fairly big old bus. He's going to need arms of steel to aerobatically with that.
Yeah.
But he's gonna be Popeye-like by the time he's mastered his display in that. But it's a good sized biplane for sure.
It is a good sized biplane. Johnny.
Right, I've gone for a Gypsy Moth. This one is for sale through Eagles 11. It was actually built by Curtis in 1928. Price 92 grand. It's got the Gypsy one, 100 horsepower with 146 hours on it. It's sold with a new permit. It's based in Herefordshire. And yeah, I guess it's 1,200 hours on the airframe. I think that could be a good little vintage aerobatter.
Yeah, I'd like to see a snap roll in a Gypsy Moth. That's probably going to need some encouragement, but it's probably going to get you there. So the cool thing about Gypsy Moth is you don't need a big hangar because it folds up
every time you land it.
No.
I'm going to go next.
Don't any G.
No, I'm going to go next before you jump in with what I think is a strong contender, Ed, which will surprise nobody.
Richard Kennedy said it's a shame. One week Dave won, he wasn't here.
He won't win. He won't win. Wait till you see what I've got. I kind of think, what do I want out of a vintage airplane? Well, I kind of want the same thing I want out of every airplane, which is I want to walk up to it, jump in, go flying. I don't want anything that's going to be like super, super tricky. I don't want anything I'm going to be not afraid of, but worried about damaging. I want something that's challenging that's docile and is not gonna try and kill you every so often, every second, but that is challenging enough to make it really difficult to fly properly. So in terms of my vintage aerobatic aircraft, I went for the one, the only, the Cessna 150 Aerobat. Now don't laugh. I realise it doesn't have quite the patina of Johnny's aeroplane or the big muscle car biplane bad-ass stuff of Dave's Waco, but it's a lovely little airplane, and it will fly aerobatics. It will do a snap roll. I remember my first ever snap roll was in a 150. You kind of I think if I remember rightly, you pitch for something like 70 knots. You put in a whole boot full of left rudder, and then you just wait. And the airplane's going, it starts shaking, and it's going, really? Honestly? And then it goes, ugh, and it sort of comes out on about that heading, or at least when I'm flying it.
And amazingly, as it's produced between 1955 and 75, the Aerobat qualifies. You can turn up in your Cessna Aerobat.
Exactly. And you know what shocked me about the Aerobat? What shocked me about the Aerobat was I was looking for all of those that were for sale, and geez, those prices are punchy. There's one for sale in the US for $140,000. There's another one for sale, I think, just over £100,000. It's like, what? For it? There was I thinking, perfect, nice little cheap, jump in, go, bish, bash, bosh, couple of loops, couple of rolls, bit of a stall turn, one of those flick rolls, then back for tier medals. And
well, the used aircraft market is pretty strong at the moment, isn't it? So clearly, Aerobatic Cessnas.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my pitch. That's my.
It's a good one.
Right
it's
then,
which just leaves me, and I was browsing Barnstormers, and I came across this, and I've gone Waco like Dave, but I've gone Waco ATO taper wing. So this is from 1929. The advert, this has been completely restored in 2013, and the taper wing was a really special biplane that Waco did between 1928 and 1930. They made 100 of them. And it was a time when customers were saying, "Hey, we want hot rods. We want to go fast. We want to air race. We want to fly displays." And the ATO was the biplane display mount of people like Tex Rankin, Jimmy Lund, Art Davis, and Joe Mackey. They all had them. The tapered wings on that 4 aileron short wingspan gave them a pretty decent roll rate, and 220 horsepower Wright Whirlwind engine. Made them go pretty well as well. It was £8,525 in 1929. That's 150k today, and I reckon that the advert said offers make offer. I suspect you'll have to make an offer more than an inflation price nowadays. But I think that would be a lot of fun, and it would probably make an awful lot of noise and be pretty wonderful to fly some arrows in. So and be a good spectacle.
Okay, so what have we got in the comments then?
Well, Mike says of my Waco, that is one sweet exhaust. It certainly is. Yeah. And Darren says, nice polishing. African Eagle says, let's make Dave win, probably because he's not here. So we have, what do we got? We have Johnny wins, Dave wins. We have a couple of Ed wins. We have African Eagle saying, let's make Dave win. Pete Kelly says, didn't Neil Williams fly a Cosmic Wind? He did. Sadly, there are no Cosmic Winds for sale in the classified. Otherwise, that would have been a brilliant aeroplane. Dave still wins. It looks like Dave is getting the sympathy vote, and he's not here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's probably run off to rob a bank to go and buy his Waco.
Yeah. Kia Williams says, my iPad now suggests the word wins when I type Ed. I'm not only an internet meme, I've become an autocorrect. Skydriller says stomp. Ian nearly went for a stomp. We know that. Yeah. Nigel Ryan says, if you can successfully compete in an aerobat, you are a superior pilot. There we go. Dan Smith says it's Johnny this week. Michael Pear says stomp. No one had a stomp, Michael, but it's a good suggestion. Michael Ward says Ed. Dave, why not? There we go. Hey, we'll call it a win for Dave. There we go. Dave wins.
Call it a win for Dave. Well, yeah, well done.
Right. You're not your trophy.
Yeah, I should just point out that it's nearly 8:45, so we need to quickly run through. Who wants to be Dave and run through the events?
Hang on, what have we got?
Saturday, 2nd of July, Take Flight Aviation at Enstone, Northside Grass Flying. Also, Wings and Wheels at Army Aviation Centre, Middle Wallop. Bulldog Flying, Fenland. SSDR and Sub-70 Kilogram Rally, Piddington near Northampton. Saturday and Sunday, Hevingham Concourse, Suffolk. Summer Flying at Seething. LAA Stratton Bulko Flying at Popham. On Monday the 4th, you've got a Gasco Airspace Infringement webinar. Watch It or Infringe. Thursday the 7th, Military Civil and Air Safety Day at Horton. In July, a week on Saturday. I think it's a week on Saturday. Yeah, Pilot Careers Live, Manchester. Come and see us. We'll be there. Or I will be anyway. And Johnny will be there. 9th and 10th of July, International Slate Flying at Slatecosh. 18th to 22nd, Farnborough International Air Tattoo. Don't try flying in. You will not be appreciated unless you're officially doing it, as it were.
I'll never talk to you on the radio anyway.
Yeah. Fly Farnborough. Can I get a transfer?
You'll never get a clearance.
Johnny, tell people they need to join. They need to join now.
Yeah, £30 for the year if you join before the 12th. And I'm just looking, we've got new landing fees out tomorrow. Fishburn, Kenyon Hall, Skittles, which is actually Sittles, I just spelt it wrong, and Crosland Moor as well. And hopefully Dave White, if you're watching, we'll get him squared away for his webinar next week.
Absolutely. And
club members only.
Sometime in next week or so, I'll have a video of the Raduno thing, of the Raduno flyout. If you haven't been on a flyout, go on a flyout. If you're just anywhere, we'll get some organised. Right, I think we need to run away and follow Dave's lead.
Thanks to all the viewers though for sticking with us. I can. The totals are still strong. So thanks for watching through.
And thank you very much, SkyDemon, for supporting us. We look forward to seeing you somewhere over the weekend flying. If you are next Wednesday, if you're not next Thursday, either way. And thank you very much. And somewhere around here, there you go. Thank you. See you all soon.
Bye.